Chief, you're up.
Good evening. Alright, so overall, the police department requested budget is $388,259 over last year's. Of that, 78.4% of it is personnel costs, mostly contractual. So starting at the top there with my salary, it's actually salary and compensation because it's not completely salary. Base pay 162,058, which is a 2% COLA increase in line with the other department heads. Longevity and education incentive, which is derived from the 1,000 club contract based on the position, and then there's an additional 12,000 for the retirement buyout that the town board approved last year. So so the town doesn't contribute towards any long-term retirement fund for my position because I'm retired in the New York State retirement system. So right now, for a tier 2 employee, that retirement percentage is around 30% for based on salary. So instead of contributing $48,000 or so to New York State for a retirement fund, the town pays out about $12,000 directly for that. When you get to officer salaries, there's two real components that made that significant increase. One is a 3% contractual increase for the 1,000 club, which is about $109,000. The second one is contractual step increases. So as we hire new employees, as they gain experience, their salary step increases year over year. One of the strategies we took in the last contract is to extend that out. We added an extra step. So the town now has 6 steps when it comes to salary growth. So out of the increase of $263,170, there's 109 for the contractual percentage and 153 for the step increases for the employees. Now, when you look at that over the next 5 years, that starts to drop significantly. So if there's no change in staffing over the next 5-year period, that step increase goes down year after year. So it cuts in half next year, drops down another 20,000 a year after that, 10,000, then 20,000, and then it's down to zero, so that they've all reached top step at that point. When it gets to salary compensation for retirements, that is kind of a gamble as to whether there's people retiring or not. When you look at the buyout for vacation, sick, and comp time for the contract when the employees leave, the last 3 retirees have averaged about $45,000 per retiree. So we've seen in law enforcement a trend out of the last 13 employees that have retired, the average length of service is 20 years and 2 months. So we see people when they hit their 20, they leave. So currently we have 1 patrol officer that can leave. When this budget was created, there was actually 2. Lieutenant Webster retired this week from the department. So that increase, or the budgeting, there was a 0 increase on it, but there's a significant number, so I wanted to cover it. When it comes to non-holiday pay, we budgeted $40,000. That is one that is very hard to project. So if you look at it contractually, each employee, captain down, or I'm sorry, below the captain, lieutenant down in the union, has the option of either taking holidays in pay or holidays in comp time. If they take it in pay, it's almost a $200,000 expense. Most employees take it in comp, but we don't know that when we initiate the budget as to whether they're going to do that for the next year. So our spending, our actuals over the last 3 years have averaged about $28,000. So that $40,000 budget is more just hedging our bets that if some people take it and pay and have less comp time, that we have some money to cover that increase. Another significant portion of the budget is the police overtime. We're holding that flat at the 300,000 with that as a target. Historically, we've been over that. If you look at the last 3 years, the overtime budget has averaged about $346,000. So it's actually over that 300,000 mark. Most of that has to do with either low head count for some of those years, or having people off the road and having to cover the vacancies on the road. Some of those vacancies off the road have to do with either a medical leave, long-term injury, maternity leave. We have 2 officers out right now on maternity leave, or they have to do with discipline processes. As we've talked in the past, the discipline process can take anywhere up to a year and a half to initiate. Luckily, we currently don't have any of those going on, but we did go through a period of time there where we did. So our goal is to control that overtime down to that $300,000 mark by having our staffing actually on the road operational. And again, that kind of ties to the conversation about headcount with having additional training time for employees. So our department is a little bit different than most others. Even when we hire somebody at the police officer academy level, we're still not going to have them operational for almost a year. It'll be about a 9-month process before they're actually staffing a car on the road on their own. Some of the other ones that are significant, not to bore you with each one, but officer comp time buyout, that is a educated guess as well based on historicals. As officers accrue their comp time at the end of the year, they're mandated to buy it down to 80 hours, but they have the option of buying it down to 0. So it all depends on what the officer's preference is at the end of the year. So we have, over the years, separated that out from overtime, created its own line to try to track that better, and our last 4 years have put us anywhere between 122 and 155. So that's kind of where we're at. It's been trending towards that upper number. It was 148, 154, so we're expecting to be around the 155 number this year. Another increase is the clerical salaries. We have 4 clerk positions and 1 property clerk / quartermaster, so 5 full-time civilian positions. They got a 2% COLA increase, so that results of 6.4% of the total differential in the 25-26 budget. We do have 1 part-time vehicle maintenance position that we use to run our vehicles to the different services, so we're not paying patrol officers for those for that time. School crossing guards, again, there's 1 crossing guard location in town that it's our obligation to staff. Over this past year, we haven't had a crossing guards. We've been using police officers to do it. That's caused some logistical issues and resulted in overtime. So we're going back to hiring somebody for that position for the fall, so that we can help control the overtime costs associated with that. As I move down the list here, the ARPA bonus, $8,500, that was part of the negotiation process. It's a contractual incentive for captain and below, $2,500 paid in December.
That's the last year on it.
And that's the last
Third
year.
and final year.
Third and final year. Out of computer licensing and equipment, about $20,000 of that is the user licensing, and about $16,000 is the equipment that we for computer upgrades and rotation. Out of capital purchase offices, we have 2 projects for next year. We're replacing 2 clerk desks and the roll call room desks and chairs. It's part of our planned progression to update the workspace. So you see a significant increase in the capital purchase miscellaneous. That is for our body-worn camera equipment. So our 5-year contract for our current body-worn cameras expires in May. So we're going through the testing phase right now to try to select a new vendor. The one we have isn't meeting our needs. So ultimately, our goal would be to acquire a grant to pay for any equipment costs that come along with that, but we don't know if we're going to get approved for that, so we have to budget accordingly to try to make sure we have continuity with that program. The body-worn cameras are a necessity in law enforcement these days. Let's see here. Capital purchase firearms, 2 patrol rifles, and the ammunition conversion kits. As we talked about last budget cycle, we are in the process of transitioning our duty pistols to a new make and model with a red dot optic on it. So we're going to upgrade our ammunition conversion kit. So essentially, those are the kits that we use for reality-based training to make the training officers go through as realistic as possible. It allows them to use the same style weapon, holster, and all that to make it more realistic. For this budget cycle, we have 3 patrol vehicles. There are going to be 3 marked vehicles this year. So both the combination of the vehicle and vehicle accessory line. So to set up the equipment, it's about $14,000 per vehicle, $1,000 for graphics, and about $45,000 for the actual vehicle. For our fleet, we have 13 marked patrol cars, and we have 8 unmarked / special use vehicles. So that puts us on a 3-year vehicle, 3-year rotation for vehicles. Let me rephrase that. 3 vehicle per year as part of the rotation for the 21 total vehicles. Capital purchase, DWI, that's a radar unit, road screener. Professional development is for the Chiefs Conference and National Academy membership. Cellular telephones, that's another large expense. It's something we do differently than some of the other police departments. We issue a cell phone to each patrol officer, each sworn member, to fulfill their duties. It's basically a mobile office, has access to all of our policies, procedures, training material, and it's on the FirstNet network, so it ensures communication continuity in a critical incident. The other benefit to it is it keeps officers' personal devices out of any kind of discovery issue if it's associated with a criminal arrest. That's been working out very well for us. Another large expense is service contracts. That's essentially software as a service. A lot of the things that we're using for both management investigative processes are contractual now. So some of the big ones, Lexipol, that's our policy manual, that's $15,859 for next year. We do get a $4,000 grant from PERMA for having that. It's a well-recognized policy manual that has some incentive to it, so we get $4,000 back from PERMA for that. Provision is our body-worn camera software. That's a $20,000 annual expenditure, so that's last year that contract. IA Pro is a $4,500 contract that is for our personnel management. For those who aren't super familiar, the discovery process where we have to provide information to the district attorney's office as part of officers' performance and history. That helps us track that. CaseGuard's a software program for the plate readers. Daigle is that was $4,800 annually. Daigle Law Group, that's $2,700. That's supervisory training for sergeant and up. Provides a monthly enhanced training which fulfills our accreditation requirement for supervisory training, and it is really good content to help raise the knowledge level of our supervisors. Moving down through a couple of these, there's really not much change with most of those. Gasoline is probably the next biggest expense when it comes to unknown. We budget $100,000. Luckily, the last couple of years we haven't needed to reach that level, but that fluctuates. The other one I just wanted to cover real quick, the vehicle repairs. We have $45,000 budgeted. We typically see about $16,000 reimbursed from the insurance companies. A lot of those are from fleet vehicle accidents, and there is some reimbursement that comes from other operators. When you get down to clothing expense for the $45,000, uniforms and vests, each ballistic vest has a 5-year rotation replacement per manufacturer recommendation. So we have to purchase it's right around 6 or 7 vests a year to keep up with that requirement. The Employee Assistance Program, that was a new initiative in '25, joint with the Sheriff's Department. They opened up their services to towns that are interested. We budgeted for it, expressed interest in it, and it still hasn't launched. I was just contacted about 2 weeks ago that they're getting ready to launch that program, so the money budgeted for for 25, the $22,000, hasn't been expended yet, so there's probably going to be some residual from that, but we're expecting that to be fully operational by New Year's for 26 budget. And the rest are no increase, typical expenditures. For revenue, really no changes in revenue. The biggest one obviously is the reimbursement from the school, Webster Central School District for the school resource officers. That's 75% of their total compensation or total cost. So in the officer salary line, that results in about $160,000 being reimbursed from that expenditure, and then the rest is out of the healthcare retirement contribution aspect of their costs.
Per the contract, we bill them twice a year.
And then that's kind of covers revenue. There's not a lot of money to be made in law enforcement. You want to run right through animal control too while I'm going? Or do you want to pause? Oh, I'm getting the head shake.
No.
Okay.
I'm fine. I don't know about the rest of the members of the board.
Keep going.
Okay. For animal control, we run a part-time model. We don't have full-time animal control officers, so Barb Hollins leads that unit and does a fantastic job. Puts in a lot of effort as a part-time employee, and then her and Tracy and a couple others have been bringing on board fulfill that staffing. Not much change there when it comes to their expenditures. We have to get them a new computer. That's where that came from. We didn't do it in '25. Haven't done it in '25 with kind of the uncertainty of what's going on. Other than that, there's really not much change to their budget. No real revenue to be spoken of there either. Okay. And I'm available for questions.
So I got a couple of questions. Well, I have a bunch, but I'll talk to you offline about some other issues. So we provide resource officers to the school district, correct?
Correct.
That we get reimbursed for,
Correct.
with the exception of the summertime.
Correct.
We supply crossing guards, but we don't get reimbursed for that from the school. I was just curious as to why.
So the crossing guard is a New York State town law requirement, I believe, that the municipality is actually responsible for the crossing guard, not the school district. It's been a while since I've looked it up to actually give you the number, but it's written into a law someplace in New York State town law that requires the municipality to do it.
So New York State law does not require us to provide school resource officers either.
Correct. That was a discussion that we started about 10 years ago. I think it was either 14 or 15 school year was the first year we did school resource officers. And the reason we settled on the 75-25 is because in the summer,
Right.
they get assigned as traffic cars, and they're not under any performance for the school, so they absorb the 75% that they're there, and then we take the 25 for the summer.
Thank you. The only other thing, I was looking at the clerical salaries dating back to 2021. 2021, the actual was $250,580, and the budget for 2026 has gone up to $324,883. How many clerical positions have you added since 2021, would you say?
Since 21, so there's only been one added since 21. In 21, I think actually late 20, they took one from part-time to full-time, I believe. So there was 2 full-time, 1 part-time. Before I came back as chief, I went to 3 full-time, and then with the Discovery impact that we've had, we added a 4th clerk last year.
Last year, okay. So you have, would you say you have 5 clerks total now or 4?
So we have 4 clerks plus 1 property clerk, but it's not a clerical, it's for the evidence and property management, not actual like paperwork. She manages all of the evidence that comes in and that destruction and management process.
Okay. But the person is classified as a clerk though, right?
It's not a clerk civil service title, it's a property clerk / quartermaster civil service title.
Okay.
That does a different function.
Thank you.
I just have a quick question about the resource officers, because it's flat year over year, but salaries go up year over year. Is that negotiated for a certain period of time, and when would it be up for renegotiation?
Which part are we talking about?
We just signed a new contract.
The school resource officers.
You're talking about on the revenue side?
On the revenue side, yes.
Yeah, so I think the reason why it's flat year over year is because it depends on which officer gets assigned. So it's hard to say exactly this is going to be a revenue for 26 because we have to post it actually for August 1st for a new person that may take the position in September. So in the next billing cycle, the bill is going to be based on that officer's cost, but we don't know who that officer is yet.
Plus, we were short an officer in 24. We didn't have 2 officers for the whole year, so that really cut the revenue back. So we're conservative with the revenue.
I see.
It'll most likely be more than that.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Jenny, anything?
Next
Well, I
year-
gotta do it to you, Chief.
Yeah.
I appreciated that when you came on board in, I think, March of '21, and within a month or so, you figured out that the '21 budget that had been done months before had some math errors. And so that was a fun way to start. Your first budget that you actually oversaw was the '22 budget. And we were talking earlier about putting the budgets versus the actuals rabbit hole, that's going back in time. What Chief has done, to the best of my knowledge, is his 22, his 23, his 24 budgets now we have actuals. And he stayed under those budgets. I think he went over a little bit in 24, but we talked about it at your meeting. It was something totally out of your control. I'm trying to remember, Paul, was it because we had budgeted for the first, we didn't budget any increases to salaries because we didn't have a
It's
contract.
the union contract. The union
Yeah,
settlement.
and we did a contingency, but it ended up, whatever. And I want to thank you for that because I got to tell you, I mean, obviously everybody knows it is an expensive dollar-wise venture to have a municipal town police department. I think it's been proven in the town of Webster that the cost-benefit analysis is irrefutable. The town loves their police department. Me, I love accounting and I love things that aren't surprises. And I didn't like the first 2 years that I hear that and I saw it myself, the police budget seemed to go $200,000-300,000 over. The actuals were $200,000-300,000 over. A lot of it was overtime versus holiday pay at the end and those banks, and we just didn't have a good handle on it. And it was always a surprise, and it was a negative thing across the board. I remember some department heads would say to me 6 months, a year into being supervisor, I'm busting my hump to try to keep my budget where my actuals are lower, and then every year the police, basically we have to subsidize $200,000-300,000 of how they go over their budget by that. You have gotten that under control. That does not happen. And that, to me, has major value as a supervisor that has an accounting background, so I want to thank you for that.
Try to do it again.